there's a lot of potential to move forward on some major projects and then some more short-term projects as well. I know, actually, I don't want to, I'll let you, Fred was at the meeting, so he will probably bring up to speed on all of that. We also were involved we were able to arrange services for a video that went out, I think probably 2 weeks ago now, that really promoted what we still can do at the lake. I don't know if you saw it, but trying to not, you just try to walk that line, to take seriously the environmental crisis that we've been facing, but also remind people that this lake is about a lot more than just swimming, and there's still a vibrant business community and things like that to support. So trying to walk that line, and I know all the mayors were featured in it, and so if you haven't had a chance to see it, it was a nice little video that kind of
done very well.
Thanks. I shouldn't do credit, I'm not the one who did it. But those are kind of the main, I would say, coming since last month. That's probably the most important things, and I'll leave it to Fred, who actually knows the scientific background behind everything we talked about today. The only other thing I will say is that we're meeting with the Deal Lake and Greenwood Lake Commission and the Lake Island Commission, some people from the Lake Island Commission as well, next week to kind of, and Fred will be there as well, just drag you into everything, but to kind of talk about what we can do collectively as a group of lake organizations that have all dealt with algae blooms that are kind of constrained by the DEP's way of the procedures they put in place, and seeing what we can do to, what we can do to kind of talk to the, I don't know, I guess we'll find out what we're going to discuss next week, really, but it's about kind of using our collective power with these different organizations to get big projects done, and also to have a united voice when we work with the DEP going forward. So, sorry, that was very inarticulate. I don't really want to say. Is there anything, as you guys know, you're at that meeting too. Is there anybody have any questions?
I just think the main thing was the fact that collectively with the commission, that all the mayors and towns are concerned about what's going on, even though it's not our responsibility as far as the lake is concerned. It is still our lake in our community. That we are not only, working as a commission, but we're working as a community to try to come up with solutions to deal with this now and in the future. So I give the foundation a lot of credit, because they are definitely an advocate group that's bringing us all together to get us all on the same page to make sure that we're moving forward. So I thank the foundation for taking that.
Oh, and hopefully everybody got a chance to come see the Smithsonian exhibit while I was here. No, it's not anymore, so you got to go to I think Millstone or something to go to. But thank you to everybody. We had I think 700 people come through check out the exhibit. So thank you, Eric. Thank you. Thank you. If you have any questions, just I'll be standing right here.
Next is Princeton Hydro, Dr. Fred. Again.
All right. Okay, so I'll give an update on a couple things. So in the month of August, we conducted both the cyanotoxin monitoring as well as the water quality monitoring. So the water quality monitoring occurred on the 14th. So we're still waiting on the results of that from the lab. We did collect in situ data on dissolved oxygen temperature, and that will all be synthesized and put into the final report. But the cyanotoxin monitoring, I just want to bring that to everyone's attention. So we monitor for blue-green algae and cyanotoxins in near-shore areas along beaches, twice during the summer, once in July, once in August. We did this last year, and we've done it this year, so I'm just showing the reports from the August assessment, which was done on the 12th. So we monitor for 3 different cyanotoxins, microcystins, which is the most common, as well as cylindrospermatoxin and anatoxin A. All 3 were either negative or below the limit of detection. So not only were they below the limit of detection, but they were also below what the threshold is for DEP. So no cyanotoxins. Now, when we collected samples for the blue-green algae, the cyanobacteria, all of the samples were above that 20,000 cell per mil threshold. So they varied as low as a little over 20,000 to as high as 77,000. So those concentrations are the level that DEP is concerned about potential harmful algae blooms. But I can emphasize that when we measured for any of the cyanotoxins, they all came up negative. So that report was submitted to the commission, and the water quality data will be synthesized. We have one more sampling event, which will occur in September, and then we submit the year-end report. So all that information will be available through the commission. We also conducted some quarry sampling, so the stream that comes into the northern end of the lake from the quarry drainage area, as well as a reference stream. I, this afternoon, received the memos from our scientists. Those memos will be forwarded to the commission. But overall, I can give a quick summary on that information. So in terms of alkalinity and hardness and specific conductivity, so these are various parameters that measure, the buffering capacity of the water, or how many dissolved substances are in the water. The stream that was coming in from the quarry had higher concentrations than the reference stream. What's interesting is the total phosphorus concentrations were the same at both streams, 0.06, 0.06. However, what we did see is total dissolved phosphorus was substantially higher coming in from the quarry. Almost all the phosphorus coming in from the quarry stream was in a dissolved organic form. And then finally, the total suspended solids was actually 6 times higher coming in from the quarry stream relative to the reference stream. So the total suspended solids, which measures the amount of dirt in the water, was 18 from that quarry stream, where it was 3 in the reference stream. So that was a post-monitoring event, post-storm event monitoring event. We still have to do a baseline monitoring event yet to see what the concentrations are like during non-storm conditions. So just to let you know, that event, those data were collected. If you remember, about 2-3 weeks ago, we had that heavy rain of like 3 to 4 inches over the course of 48 hours. We sampled immediately after that. So we need to do some baseline sampling, say a few days of some nice sunny weather to collect that information. And then, as was mentioned by the foundation, we were at the meeting today with the mayors. There was a lot of good information shared. We're looking at various lines of potential sources of funding from a local, state, even federal perspective for a variety of projects. From small scale projects that would be focusing on beach areas to minimize or avoid these blooms, to the larger scale projects which really focus on the entire watershed. So we did discuss a number of those potential sources of funding. We have a game plan underway in seeking these funds and implementing these projects. Just to let you know as well, and I'd let the commission know, DEP requested that we supply some proposals for demonstration projects. We did that on behalf of the commission about 2 weeks ago, so I have not heard back from DEP, but they did request some proposals for demonstration projects, again, to directly address the issues with the harmful algae blooms in the lake. So we've been working on a lot of different areas in terms of acquiring funding to address this problem. So I could go on, but I'll let the commission speak about the meeting as well. Does anyone have any specific questions?
Yes, Fred. What's the implication of dissolved versus the not dissolved phosphorus?
What's interesting is, so the total concentrations were the same. But what's interesting is from the quarry stream, it had a high amount of dissolved organic phosphorus. And organic phosphorus is something that actually blue-green algae prefer, because they have some enzymes called alkaline phosphatase, which can cleave phosphorus off of organic compounds. So it's just interesting that even though the concentrations were the same coming in from the 2 streams, that we had a lot more proportionally more of it being organic phosphorus coming from the quarry, which again can favor blue-green algae.
Why would that be? Does that imply?
I can explain why. It's because blue-green algae, many of them can fix their own nitrogen. So
I mean, why would it be coming down in the organic?
That I don't know.
That's my question.
Yeah, that I don't
What's
know.
going on in that stream?
I don't know. That's why we want to do the baseline sampling, to see if it was more of a function of a storm event coming in, or is this something of a systemic, long-term problem. So that's why we have to do the baseline sampling.
Fred, is this information going to the DEP yet?
We had a conference call with DEP on Thursday of last week, and I did share this information with them. They also supplied us with data on their sampling of the stream.
So is anyone, as you know, been looking at the sediment that's dropped down?
That's something that we discussed. So we, remember in the spring, we collected data. So we had information on the percent silts going in. And one of the things that we've talked about is getting cores in the lake itself to try to assess, okay, how much of that has come in from a specific activity or action. And that's something we did talk about at today's meeting.
No, that will be done.
We will be looking into that, yes.
While you have the floor, when we get to the wheat harvest, we'll all see that there's much less weeds that were harvested this year. And our experience in general has been much less weed growth on the entire lake. Can you explain why that's the case?
So there are a number of factors. The extended drawdown. Usually when we have an extended drawdown, we tend to see less weeds the following year. That's something that we normally see. The other thing too is when you have these blooms, particularly when they hit in June, when you have a lot of active growth, the limitation of light reduces the amount of plant growth. So it's a number of factors, but the extended drawdown as well as those near shore blooms. And remember, when the blooms hit, not only did they hit Hopatcong this way, but they hit other lakes in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York, very similar, in that the blooms started from the edge, moved out. So it was like a bathtub rain. We saw that in a lot of other lakes as well, and that's because this was very watershed driven. Remember in June, we were getting these intense storms followed by 1 to 2 days of sunny weather. And that pattern of like about 2 weeks really set up the lakes to experience these near shore blooms that once they fully formed, they were then moving through the lakes due to the wind and weather activities.
Have you been able to demonstrate the quantity of light or less light?
Through measuring the Secchi, yes. We have measurements of Secchi discs, and the Secchi discs were lower this year compared to past years. Just the way the phosphorus this year was higher compared to past years.
It's been my observation that the lake, the water in the lake looks much darker and more opaque this year.
And a lot of that has to do with the algae, and that's why the Secchi depth. And if you're not familiar, a Secchi disc is an alternating black and white disc. It's very high tech. We lower it in the water, and as soon as it disappears, we record that number. As soon as it reappears, we record that number, and that average gives us an idea of water clarity. And usually a Secchi depth of about 1 meter, which is 3.3 feet. 1 meter or deeper is usually what people perceive as that looks okay for swimming or recreation. Usually something less than 1 meter, that's when it starts looking a little scummy. So we've been collecting that data since the 80s. So we do know that this past year, the Secchi depths have been lower than what we've seen in previous years.
Excuse me. Any comments?
Is it okay?
Yes, but I don't want to get into the public discussion of this. We've got a chance for the public to raise questions. They'll still be here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, I don't want to repeat everything everybody else said. This is our second meeting, and we discussed that the best way is to get everybody together, the 4 towns, and the commission, and the foundation, to all work together as a team. That's the way I think, listen to us, we'll have a stronger voice. We did look at demonstration projects from around the lake, storage and cleaning out the catch basins and all of that, and studies of how it would work. And so we, again, 3 sources, the Highlands Council, we're going to work through the congressman in the area to try to get some federal funds. The DEP, of course, got these grants they issue. But one thing that we do know, is that we're underfunded. So thanks to Dr. Steinbaum, he gave us some figures back from a couple of years back, so now we just have to inflate them and maybe adjust them.
Not inflated.
See,
Adjust for inflation.
yeah,
Bring it up.
very helpful. We gave out copies to everybody, so what you have there, so we need to deal with that. And one of the things maybe that we could demonstrate some immediate thing, because a big thing is the stormwater runoff into the lake that's hurting us. If somehow the commission could acquire, not new, but you, one of those vacuum things, and we have it, and it is a shared service. Four mayors sat there and committed to it. I don't see a sign of thing for each of the 4 towns. That they would provide some staff to us, we provide them one person, and go around and clean all those storm gates, because they don't have the money, each of them, to buy a machine. Why should one buy it and give it to the others free? So if we could get something, we could start immediately to pack those stormwater. So that's where we are. We're now going to put together a paper so we can get our budget to some realistic number. So we can go down here and ask for that. And we need to try to ask for some emergency funding maybe to get us going. Plus these grants. Now, the trouble with grants is there's a lot of strings attached to them. And not so much for action, but so much for testing and proving that something's wrong. Then you got to find funding how to fix it. But we're working on it. We're pretty close now to getting our thing together. And we can get something down the track and we're trying to get some action out of it. Because we want to get jump on it now so we don't have this, at least to this extent next year.
Did you discuss sewering? Part of that is in sewer, because 40% of that, according to Fred.
Yes, that's why we want to get the stormwater and the sewer.
The stormwater is 40%, the sewer is 40%.
Hopatcong has one particular place in Crescent Cove that they're ready to try to do that, because there was 50 homes there, just as a demo. Like, if we did this on the drop, okay, guys, here's the proof. Let's give us the rest of the sewers, because this is a big thing for us. So he did say he was ready to.
Yeah, and I can add to that what we're going to do, so we're finalizing that watershed implementation plan, which is an update of the restoration plan, and we want that plan because when you have that, it puts you high on the list for federal and state funding for a variety of projects. As part of that, we're going to as part of the plan, we're going to say what the benefits would be if the remaining communities were sewered. So, based on the model that we used 12 years ago, we're just going to update it for this existing plan and say, if the remaining towns were sewered, what would be the reduction in phosphorus? So we are going to do that. And that mini project that the borough of Hopatcong suggested of the 50 homes, we're going to specifically use that and say, okay, if these 50 homes were sewered, what's that reduction in phosphorus? And then we can plunk that in and say, what's the reduction in terms of algae growth? So that will be part of the existing plan.
We can get around the regular maintenance of storm. That's another thing. That's not a lot of money to get something immediately to show. Now there's a lot of other ones. Jefferson needs some sewers.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take any credit for it, because I think Clancy's here. I'm going to blame him all for this, so when it goes bad.
Political career first time.
I'm the new mayor of Jefferson, so long before my time, but Jefferson did a sewer study back in 2002. Tim knew that document existed. The document's probably about that big. And Tim's been poring over that for the last few weeks to kind of help revitalize, Jefferson. There's a lot of hurdles. There's a lot of things have to fall into place for really happen. And the big thing is obviously funding. And what changed from 2002 till now is the Highlands. And Lake Shawnee was put in the preservation area of the Highlands. So in order for this plan to work, we met with the engineer who designed the plan last week. That Lake Shawnee component has to be there. So we're going to meet with the Highlands to see if there's any, whether or not they're even entertain, us, as a preservation area. Everybody knows, I don't know if everybody knows, but they don't allow sewering in the preservation area. So we have to get a special exemption for that section.
But it's a unique land use category.
What's that?
It's a unique land use category.
Yeah.
That they haven't, even though it's preservation.
Right. So we want to see if we can entertain that. That's the first component. And the second component is whether or not there's adequate funding out there, because you're talking millions and millions of dollars. And in order to make it viable for our community and residents, there's got to be adequate funding to offset some of those costs. So we are in the beginning stages of that. We are looking at it just because of the situation we have on Hopatcong, and we are, Hopatcong's, I don't know if you're half sewer, three-quarters sewer. Jefferson, we have sewers in certain parts of town, but it's certainly nothing around Lakewood. So we are looking at that to see if it's viable.
And Lake Shawnee, my numbers are correct, 27% of feet or back. So why not doing that? You're pushing it up from there.
That's right, you gotta go all the sources.
Yes, go downhill. Okay, so that's where we're at. We're making progress, a little slower than a lot of us would like, but that's the way it goes.
I just have a question. Has the state given any consideration to tying into sewers at the state park? There are sewers right there.
I believe we're working on a project.
You're the only one in Foxborough, not I.
I think we had to work on some stuff, and I believe the project got approved, and hopefully that should be happening
Give us
next
an
year.
update next time.
Sure.
Okay, so now, you want to say? The foundation.
You want Marty?
Sorry.
Marty, you got anything?
I already gave that to you. Anything else you want?
No, I just think, I'll just say that from the standpoint of me being around here a long time, I think the collaboration I'm seeing amongst the four towns is actually really endearing to see four mayors working hard for a common cause together. To the point that I think we're going to come out of this with some great demonstration projects and more importantly, some actual solutions to problems we've been kicking the can on for a really long time. So while it's been a really harsh summer, I think our tremendous door is open for us, and we just got to make sure we don't let this opportunity pass us by. That there actually might be an opportunity for some funding and for some forward progress on issues that we never thought we'd be able to address. So, thank you, and really, great teamwork so far. Now we got to really carry the ball.
Okay, so now we're going to open our public comments, our first
Commission
issue.
comments. You skipped over commission comments. Commissioner.
Ed, you got anything? We'll start with you, we'll run down the
Well, as a fairly long-term commissioner and just about lifelong resident, I'm really frustrated and upset. We've done studies, we have excellent science, we know the causes of what's happening. Of course, the first cause is global warming, whatever you think about it, with these very heavy storms, short, heavy rainfall, with increasing temperatures. And those are the natural things that we really can't do anything about. But we know the other causes, and we know the solution. And, we've had great cooperation, the mayors, the meetings, but we need some things that need to be done, that can be done right now, immediately right now. Because I'm worried, frankly, that this summer may just be our summers from now on. And so we've got everything ready to go but money. We need money. The commission was not funded for years. You've heard me speak about this before and others. We have funding now, but it's minimal. We need emergency funding. I know that we're counting on our legislatures to provide us with funding long term. I don't know how long it can take for that to happen. We've been disappointed in the past. We know that we can apply for grants, but that's something that's not going to happen right away. So I wonder if it wouldn't be prudent to appeal to
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Johnson. I'm the court superintendent at Hopatcong State Park. Can you all hear
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a quick briefing on the weed harvesting program for the summer. We are still fully staffed with 2 permanent employees on duty. We still have our seasonal crew, which consists of 3 full-time seasonal harvesters, meaning we have 3 people that are working full-time, 2 part-time harvesters, and 2 full-time seasonal that are operating the dump truck. And we do have one of our permanent employees right now on medical leave, unfortunately. He just had an injury last week. We were operating with 4 large harvesters, 1 small harvester this season due to the gentleman's injury and previous staff that we have been either on some vacation time or on some sick time, as well as our dump truck. One of our dump trucks was down for 5 weeks. That put a little bit of a delay on things, but we still continue to harvest. The equipment is currently stationed at East County Park and Coast. As I mentioned, the dump truck just came back and was out of service for about 5 weeks. We are working with the lab to get our weed tested. We're conducting active testing to get put today and submitted to the lab. This for procedure to comply with any test. We're currently dumping at Puma, and we'll hopefully eventually move over to any as soon as we go back. As far as our office operations go, we will be getting hopefully our bids back for the new repairs, so hopefully that they'll start with another year to get you guys building there. Yes. So basically what I'm trying to share is that we finally are starting to get process, so we should be coming back the office research development and enhancement process. We'll then select the bid, bidder, and then hire them, and instead of start taking the project, we'll then move, get us to repair the roof, so we repair the ceiling, and make them.
When do you anticipate that will be?
I can't answer that, but usually it takes approximately a month. I can't speak for them, but by the time they select the contractor.
I mean, to completion.
Oh, that is not I could find out for you, but that's the goal, yes.
Those of you who aren't aware, we lost use of our office. Because it doesn't have where are you working at? A restaurant today?
There.
So it's a real hardship at the moment.
But I will reach out and find out for you when the possibly being and take you estimated budget.
Would it be easy?
Your line, I just communicated today, to take your line to the new office and have something. So they will be getting back to me when they do that. Yes.
All right, you said something that I just wanted to say. So if the group gets picked an annual facility, or are they going to?
Well, you need to fix the roof first before you can fix the inside.
I would sure we can see one bid process and fix it, and then another bid for the.
I have no idea how that's going to address, but that's the harvesters are currently north of Nolan's Point, the Great Bridge, Old Island, Western Island, and Iron Cove. We are still cleaning up on Friday, the voters that we are seeing out there, we're cleaning up. We began the season mid-May, around the 22nd, the 23rd, I believe. And to date, we have harvested 746 yards, which goes to the question.
How does that compare?
Let's see, last year at this time, we were probably somewhere around 3,000. Right.
2,400 odd, and now you're at about 700.
So, about a third is less than.
Less than a third.
So, the facility.
But not only is it less than a third, but because it's a sixth now. Either is we're now getting 1/6 as well.
So,
So basically, that speaks to the fact that, A, yes, we had a budget drawdown, and that doesn't affect the future. We also have to have the board protect salaries, and, we had some, the setbacks really didn't affect the harvest, because either way, there was not a lot of anything. Right now, we are focusing on the areas that I described, because they have not been touched by people. We did focus basically around the Hopatcong State Park for a couple weeks. We did a full week with training and also in the area. And then from that area, from probably Virgin's Island, up to Nolan Point, we were there for probably another month also. The rest of the season will be focusing around these areas. As far as our pad monitoring goes, these people continue to monitor the areas that are still coming up with hits for pads. I was communicated that they are going to continue to do that at least for several weeks. And
They're still going out twice a week, every Tuesday.
they're still going out every Tuesday, Thursday.
Is the plane still flying over every Wednesday? Plane, is the plane still flying over?
It's not.
Yeah, no, they had an airplane flying over every Wednesday. Able to monitor, correct parameters of the entire land, get an idea where the bloom may be. Still, the last flight still showed a bloom on many areas.
I can find out.
I just wondered. Incidentally, Mr. Chairman.
No, the only other thing I was going to mention is that the school monitoring for the have. We did clear the Hopatcong State Park this last week, and I think that's it. Not yet. I don't have an answer yet, but there are discussions about looking at swimming area, and we would find something out either on our website, or we would probably have it posted at our park.
I just wanted to let the commissioners know, I know Commissioner McCarthy is not here, would be interested to know that the DEP has been borrowing our outboard 2 days a week for their monitoring. They requested it, and we trained them and allowed them.
How much are we getting for that?
They're mine to get.
They'll take that out of the budget.
All supposed to be working together.
That's right.
Okay. So we have the train, we're finding. Thank you. Josh?
Yeah, so I'll come with the update. Colleen did send this letter out to the commissioners today, but also for people in the room. Just so everyone, here's the update. So the New Jersey DEP Weldon recently completed nutrient monitoring. Results were provided to Lake Hopatcong Commission on the 14th, 19th to evaluate the nutrient impact of Weldon quarry on Lake Hopatcong. The initial data suggests that Weldon is a nutrient source to Lake Hopatcong, but at relatively low levels. For example, NJDEP sampled the stream impacted by the February 2019 spill and compared the 2 nearby control streams not impacted by the Weldon spill. One of the 2 control streams was higher for phosphorus than the impacted flowing stream. In addition, the active surface water discharge from Weldon had a phosphorus level of 0 or of 0.025 milligrams per liter, which is below the phosphorus EMDL of 0.03 milligrams per liter for the lake.
How does that stack up against you?
Well, we tested post-stormwater. So, well, again, we're going up to baseline, so we can compare it to their data. The highest level of phosphorus was detected in the sediment behind the turbidity curtain prior to the lake. The sediment was removed by Weldon on 16/19 and disposed of off-site as part of the ongoing improvement. NJDEP plans to continue to evaluate and assess Weldon's nutrient impact on lake environment. In addition to nutrient monitoring, NJDEP also recently conducted general chemistry and macroinvertebrate analysis. These results were suggestive of some environmental degradation of the stream that Weldon spilled in February of 2019. For example, the microinvertebrate population, the foundation for a healthy stream, was rated as fair in the impacted Weldon stream, and excellent and good in control streams not impacted by the Weldon spill. Additional parameters that would be associated with the sediment spill, including total suspended solids, total dissolved solids, and turbidity, were all notably higher in impacted Weldon streams than the control stream. As a result, NJDEP is continuing to require that Weldon conduct a thorough cleanup of the impacted areas. To that end, Weldon recently added additional 8 bales of silt fences, now totaling 7 locations to the stream, that will provide additional filtration and sediment control and collection. Weldon also recently has known about completed sediment removal in front of the turbidity curtain prior to the lake. The next phase of the cleanup will include a project to remove sediment from a longer stretch of the stream. The enforcement case pertaining to the violations associated with the February 2019 incident remain open and active. This particular one, mostly focusing on the stream, but I believe they said that, we're still working on it.
There was mention of possible, use of funding, funding for some of the funds in the bank, so it has been mentioned, but.
That's what we mentioned at today's meeting. Provide data there.
And then you can build a model